Welcome here to Church of the Beatitudes. It's great to see your eyes. And thank you very much for those of you who are watching us online. Thank you for joining us. And we just had a really special treat, Stephen. Yes. Tell me a little bit about, can you introduce our guest? From what I'm understanding is we have a special thing that's happening tonight, and then another thing that's happening Saturday night?
I have so many things to share.
Yeah,
so yes.
Please do.
Thank you so much, Tony. Welcome. Good morning, church. How are you? We have two big concerts happening this week. The first is tonight. Our jazz concert series kicks off. It will be here in the worship center, 6 p.m. for a $10 suggested donation, but pay what you can and please come and enjoy. The group Bossa Nova 77, which features Beth Laderman, who is the pianist for some of our Pentecost jazz services, Artie Grijalva, who's a close friend of some of the members of our congregation, and some of their friends will be here. So tonight, that's a 2-hour concert, and it is a suggested donation. So please come and enjoy that. Then, I want to introduce Dr. Bret Wagner. Bret and I have been very close friends for about 20 years or so. We grew up playing music together, and here we are today. So this is a euphonium. For those of you who weren't sure what that was, a euphonium looks like that. I would call it a tiny tuba, but then I would be reprimanded. We are going to put on a recital on Saturday at 4 o'clock. It's a $20 ticket, but please come. It will be live streamed as well, but we'll be featuring the versatility of this wonderful instrument. And so we'll play a little bit more for you this morning, and in the hopes that you will return on Saturday. We can't wait to see you out for that as well. So Bret, thank you for sharing your time and talents, and welcome today.
So it's amazing that the two of you met while you were both in kindergarten. You said 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, that's it, actually, yeah. Fresh out of the womb.
The other thing that we'd like to point out to you is that for those of you who maybe this is your first time with us, we recently remodeled, but recent is in the larger context of in the last 2 years. But because of COVID and us not being able to meet, haven't been able to spend a lot of time here. So we are slowly in the process of kind of getting everything back to the way it was. And one of the things that just recently happened is that we have our hanging system for our art that is now in place again. And so a huge thanks to Mike Klatt for his endeavor, and I think Bruce Bear was a part of that. Lee Case was a part of that, and I think there was others I'm probably forgetting, but if you were involved in any way, part of the Arts Council, a huge thank you for bringing that back for us. It's a new system. It's a lot like the old, but a little bit upgraded, and so again, thank you for that. We are also in the middle of a worship series on the Beatitudes. Today, we are looking at Blessed are the meek. And as we prepare for this time together, I would like to share with you a quote. It arises from the Chinese general and military strategist and writer of the book, The Art of War, and philosopher Sun Tzu. And if you'll notice this quote, it says the following: "It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in war." What I would like you to do is reflect on those words. And as you listen to this first song, that you will ask yourself that question: what in the world does this have to do with that beatitude? Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Please use this opportunity to kind of reflect on that, but also to be aware of where you are. Be centered in this moment, and for some of you, it may be looking at this slide. For others, it may be finding a point within this worship center that you can focus your eyes, and allow your breath to just keep you centered into this very moment as we experience the divine in a wide variety of different ways.
Now is the darkness vanished away. See in this face our fears and our dreamings, brought near to you in the light of this day. Gather us in, the lost and forsaken. Gather us in, you love us the same. Call to us now, and we shall awaken. We shall arise at the sound of our name.
We are the young, our lives are a mystery. We are the old who yearn for your face.
We have been sung throughout all of history, called to be light to the whole human race. Gather us in, the rich and the haughty. Gather us in, the proud and the strong. Give us a heart so meek and so lowly. Give us the courage to enter the song. Not in the dark of buildings confining, not in some heaven light years away. Here in this place the new light is shining. Now is the kingdom and now is the day. Gather us in and hold us forever. Gather us in and make us your own. Gather us in, all peoples together. Fire of love in our flesh and our bone.
Last week, I mentioned that my favorite depiction was the pure in heart, Julie Fry. And you might guess whose favorite is this week's, seeing that there's a motorcycle in the background. What say you, Tony? Yes? Jesus said, "Blessed are the meek, the humble, and the gentle, for they will inherit the earth." Meekness, gentleness, and humility are all notable traits. Unfortunately, it's these very traits that are often exploited by the boastful and the belligerent. So the question is, what kind of shape will the world be in when they inherit it? For me, this beatitude is especially convicting. When I think about the fragility of our planet and humanity's waning regard for its conservation and care, what kind of blessing is it really to be bestowed on the meek? And who are the meek today? Aristotle, he once described the meek as one who is angry for the right reasons, in the right way, at the right things, and for the right length of time. As you listen to today's reading from Psalms, think about how a posture of meekness, gentleness, or humility can be a powerful tool with which to connect and find peace with one another and with our earth. Psalm 37, 8-11. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret, it leads only to evil. For those who are evil will be destroyed, but those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land. A little while, and the wicked will be no more. Though you look for them, they will not be found. But the meek will inherit the land and enjoy peace and prosperity.
Every so often, it's a good idea for us to pause and ask ourselves some tough questions. Over the last few weeks, as we've been looking at the Beatitudes, I've done just that. And so I asked myself a question that might, for many, be considered anathema, something that should never happen. But I'm going to share it with you anyways. Is it time for this spiritual community to change its name. Now, before you get up and run out, all I'm doing is asking you a question. Church of the Beatitudes. Now, let's be honest. The vast majority of individuals in our society probably don't even know what that word means anymore. Beatitude. It makes it sound like we belong to something ancient, something foreign. And then not only that, but when you actually read some of these Beatitudes, it makes you scratch your head and wonder, really? Is this relevant anymore in today's society? And there's probably no other beatitude than this one for me that says that. Blessed are the meek. Come on. Who in our society is going to take us serious when we say to them, blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth? Everyone knows that's not true. I mean, the key to survival, the key to gaining your place in society, to having any position of power, is not being meek. Imagine, if you would, that you are someplace and you're applying for a job and they ask you to list some of your top, let's say just your top 5 qualities. How many of you would be willing to put meekness? How do you think that's going to go over? If you own a company and you're looking to hire a manager, you want someone to lead you into the future, and they say to you, well, I think I'm your person because I'm meek, I'm docile, I'm a pushover, I just, I'm tame. How many of you would hire that person? Versus someone who says, I'm aggressive, I get things done, I push people when they need to be pushed. How about the person who, when a situation arises and it needs to be confronted, do you want someone who's willing to stand their ground, stand for a cause? Or do you want someone who's kind of like this wishy-washy, lack of spine? You want that kind of person leading you? See, but yet here we call ourselves Church of the Beatitudes, and this is a beatitude that makes us stop and wonder, should we even be talking about these anymore? Blessed are the meek. Really? But this beatitude is the one that makes me realize how challenging and at times difficult it is, and actually scary to read the Bible. I don't know how many times I've been around people that have said to me, well, the Bible says. But what is difficult is that every single time someone opens the Bible to read it, they are reading a translation, and all translations involve interpretation. For some reason, shame on them, the ancients didn't leave us a dictionary. Life would have been so much easier. But the problem is that we have words from this ancient language, thousands of years old, and they didn't leave us a dictionary. So how do we determine what these words mean? And sometimes one word in the original language, and in this case, the New Testament, Greek, one word can have a wide contingency of meanings. But yet, we have to choose one word to be able to use it in our translations. That's why if you were to take and open up a wide variety of different translations, this word meek, you're going to find a wide variety of words that are used. So if we're going to realize that this beatitude, if it in any way has any meaning for today, I think it gives us this opportunity to step back and ask ourselves, what evidence is there that would help us understand this word? Evidence not only found within the Bible, but how this word was used outside of the Bible. Now, I think a good place to start is looking at two individuals who are explicitly called meek. One of them is an individual named Moses. We read about him in the Hebrew Bible or the Christian Old Testament. I grew up in a tradition that was very fundamental. And one of the things that I was taught was that Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. And I believed that for the longest time until I came to this verse. And it was this verse, among many others, that made me begin to realize that Moses didn't write these first 5 books. It was probably an editor that came in together later and compiled it and added this verse. Because in your mind, imagine Moses writing this verse. It appears in Numbers chapter 12, verse 3. Now the man Moses was very meek, above all the men which were on the face of the earth. Imagine someone writing that about themselves. I am the most meek person in the world. Does that even make sense? But the writer chose to use this person, Moses, as an example of what meekness, what it really looked like. Now, in the Old Testament, it was written in Hebrew. But when they translated it into Greek, they chose to use the word that we find in that Beatitude, that exact same word to describe Moses. Now, if you read the story of Moses and look at the way that he behaved, he was not a pushover. He was not docile. He could stand his ground. He got so angry one time that it says that he came down off of a mountain, lost his temper, threw down these stones that had stuff written on them, pulverized this golden idol, and made everyone drink of it. Now, does that sound like a meek person to you? So immediately you become suspicious that the word meek has a different meaning, a different way than our English today uses that term. Another individual that is called meek is Jesus. The writer of the Gospel of Matthew attributes these words to Jesus, where it says in Matthew chapter 11, verse 29, Jesus says, "Learn of me, for I am meek." And again, when you realize the stories about Jesus, he is not a typical sense of what we would see as being a meek person. He's not passive. He doesn't let people trample all over him. He's willing to stand up and defend the marginalized of society. Jesus is not the typical sense of a humble, gentle, kind of roll me over and I'll be okay person. So just in these two examples, we realize that this word meek has more depth to it, is more nuanced than you first see when you're reading the text. But there's a second thing we can do. We can look at how this word was used outside of the Bible. One way that it was used was to describe a soldier. Now, imagine that, a soldier. A soldier was called meek when they knew, let me back up, when they, first of all, possessed a sword. They had a weapon in their hand. But the weapon, not only did they possess it, but they knew how to use it. They knew how to wield it. But they also, the word meek implies, is that rather than having it out all the time, the majority of time it remained in its sheath. So what we could say in this translation could be, those who inherit the earth, those are the ones who have a sword, using it as a metaphor for power. They know how to use that sword. They know how to use their power. But they chose to keep that sword in its sheath. They chose not to use their sword or their power indiscriminately. What that says is that that idea captures the essence that each and every one of us have a power within us, that we have a force within us, and that force can be either to do good or to do evil. There was a Russian general who spoke out against the leaders of the day, and he ended up in prison. And there he wrote of his experience. His name was Alexander Solzhenitsyn. And he wrote a book entitled The Gulag Archipelago. And in there, he talks about his experience and not only looking at what was going around him, but looking at what was going on in his own life. And he said the following about humanity. Gradually, it was disclosed to me that the line separating good and evil passes not through states, nor between classes, nor between political parties either, but right through every human heart and through all human hearts. The line between good and evil is drawn in the midst of our heart. He continues, this line shifts. It shifts inside of us. It oscillates with years. And even within hearts overwhelmed by evil, one small bridgehead of good is retained. And even in the best of all hearts, there remains an unuprooted small corner of evil. What this man realized is that within humanity, no matter how good you may be or consider yourself to be, there's a part of you that is evil. And then he says, no matter how bad you think someone may be, how evil you may think they are, within them there's a little bit of good. And this is where he brings it home. Since then, I have come to understand the truth of all the religions of the world. They struggle with the evil inside a human being, inside every human being. It is impossible to expel evil from the world in its entirety, but it is possible to constrict it within each person. What he's describing here is what the Romans called meekness. That ability, that power within us to do good or evil, and then to choose to do what is good, to have this self-discipline to do what is right, that is meekness. When you think about Nazi Germany or Stalin Russia, I wonder if something like that was to begin to arise in our world again. I wonder how many of us would say, no, 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 we would stand up and say, no, we're not going to do it. We're not going to go along. Let me bring it home a little bit more. Let me ask you this question. You think you could kill anyone? You think you could terrorize anyone? You think you could hurt anyone? If you answered no, you're probably lying to yourself. There was a psychiatrist who went to a high-security prison. And while he was walking around outside in the yard, he was left with this very small, innocuous-looking man. He felt safe. He figured this little guy wasn't going to be able to hurt him. He was taller, bigger. Later on, when he was talking to one of the guards, the guard said, "You know that little guy you were talking with?" And he said, "Yeah, the little short and innocuous guy?" He said, "Yeah. You know why he's here? He made 2 police officers kneel down and beg for their life before he shot them both back in the back of the head." That psychologist realized at that moment what this author talked about is that within all of us, there is a tendency to do good and there is a tendency to do evil. And each of us must make the choice in which direction we're going to go. The Greeks believed that was meekness, the ability to use self-discipline and make the right decision. There's another amazing use of this word I briefly want to share with you. The Greeks would go out and round up some wild horses. They would bring them, put them in a pen. And as they would look at them, they would begin to discern which ones could be used for different purposes. Some that had natural speed, they might be able to race them. Others that tended to be big, a little burly, they could use them as workhorses. But then there was that one horse or two, usually a stallion, who just had an air about them. You could look in their eyes and you could see their spirit. There was a fierceness about them. There was this bravery that they seemed to exude. And those were the horses they decided would become war horses. But before they could be used in battle, they had to be tamed. All of this power and energy and possibility that exuded within that horse had to be brought under control so that it would respond to the cues either verbally or physically from the rider. So that when that horse went into battle and there was chaos all around it, it would remain firm. It would remain calm, but yet still possess the power that would be needed when called upon. They called that horse a meek horse, one that had been made meek. It didn't lose its power, but it was power under control. I don't care how old you are or how young you are. you have residing within yourself power. You have the ability. You have the ability to do great good or to do great evil. And you need to harness that power. You need the self-discipline within yourself and a resolve within yourself to do what is right and what is good. I imagine Jesus, when this individual wrote about him and called him meek, remembered that quality about Jesus. That Jesus was a force to be reckoned with. But he chose to use that force to do good for the benefit of others. So, is it time to change the name of Church of the Beatitudes? I'll give you my opinion. No. But it is time for each and every one of us that belong to this spiritual community or are interested in this spiritual community to stop and look within ourselves and to realize that each and every one of us can do an amazing things to enhance our world. That's why they got it right. Blessed are the meek, for they're the ones that will inherit the earth.
Jesus, you're my heart's first love. You've been holding on to me. You once were the air I breathed, still my heart to remember. And Jesus, I am wandering, but you're chasing after me. You once gave your life to me, still my soul to remember. Still my soul to remember. Your oceans wave without thinking. Your mountains rise without knowing. Your rivers run without needing to know where they are going. Your lilies spinning so free, oh, they're happy to be. So teach me this kind of humility. Teach me this kind of humility. Jesus, I am struggling to remember. Jesus, you're my heart's first love, and you're leading me home through the fire and the flood to the place where I belong. But still my soul to remember. Your oceans wave without thinking. Your mountains rise without knowing. Your rivers run without needing to know where they are going. Your lilies spinning so free, they're just happy to be. So teach me this kind of humility. So teach me this kind of humility.
For our time together in prayer, we're going to do something a little different. Rather than just me speaking a prayer, I want you just to take this time to go through kind of a guided prayer with me. It's an opportunity for you to do some introspection. And so if you are comfortable, I would invite you to find a place here in the worship center to focus your eyes upon. For others of you, you may want to just close your eyes right now, to allow yourself to not be surrounded by any distractions and to truly be present in this moment. One of the ways that can help you right now is just focus on your breathing in and out. And as you do that, open yourself up to the Spirit of God. And allow the Spirit of God to reveal to you the potential within you to do evil. Don't run from it. Acknowledge it. Sit with it. As you become aware of that ability within yourself, listen to the Spirit convict you that you're not that much different than any other human being on this world. And now I invite you to shift your thoughts and allow the Spirit of God to move within you, to show you the potential that resides within you to do good. The potential that resides within you to help others. Feel that untapped energy within yourself. And now may you be sensitive to the Spirit of God. So that you will be able to heed that. And at this very moment, make a commitment to use that power within you and align it with the life of Jesus. And do all that you can to follow his life in your behavior, in your words, and in your thoughts. Amen.
Church, you were given a new song to sign this Sunday. And we are so fortunate to have among us Alison Cason, who is an ASL interpreter, but you will notice she's not here today. Alison has been battling a migraine all morning. And so we still wanted to be able to teach you the signs to this new song, I've Got Peace Like a River. So what we're going to do is have you direct your attentions up to the screens where we'll watch Alison's instructional video on this before trying to sign I've Got Peace Like a River together. Alison, take it away.
Signs project we're going to do together. So the song that we're going to be signing together in church is called I've Got Peace Like a River. If you are not familiar with that song, I highly recommend you go and Google search the song, listen to it, so that you know kind of what the words are and stuff like that, and hopefully it'll make learning the song a little bit easier. Okay, so this song, I've Got Peace Like a River, has 4 stanzas, and as you know from the last song, ASL, well, English doesn't translate word for word into ASL all the time. So we get to play around with the meaning a little bit, which is really fun. So let's go through the first stanza. There are 3 lines in that stanza, and then we repeat them, and then move on to the next stanza. So the first one says, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. So we're going to start out by saying I have. So the sign for I, super easy, just your pointing finger of your dominant hand, just point it. I. And then the sign for have is also super simple. You take your flat hands like this, have. You put them right kind of like where the seam of your shirt would be on your shoulder. It's kind of a good place to place your hands. So it's I have. I have. I have. Okay. So I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. So I have peace. Sign for peace. Make a little X, just right in front of your mouth. And then you bring it down. Peace. 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 So I have peace like a river. I have peace like a river. I have peace like a river in my soul. So the sign for my, when it's possessive, is just your flat hand on your chest. And soul, you bring it in, it's almost makes this kind of curved shape. You bring it in, but you just tap it right here. My soul. My soul. My soul. Let's do it again. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Okay. Next verse says, I've got joy like a fountain. So we're going to start it off by saying I have. So I have. And the sign for joy looks like this. So imagine you're doing like little circles. You're not smacking your chest, but it is a deliberate touch or brush against the chest. Like you hear a sound with it. We've got I've got joy like a fountain. So in this instance, the classifiers that we're using are your joy hands, and they're coming off of your body, and they are radiating into the universe and where you are, because you have so much joy. It is like a fountain coming out of you. So that's one of the really fun ways that we get to play with sign language. Let's do it again. I have joy like a fountain. I have joy like a fountain. I have joy like a fountain in my soul. Next verse, I've got love like an ocean. Okay, so we're going to do I have love. So this is the same for love. I have love like an ocean. So what we're doing with that sign, with the like an ocean, because when you have love, that's like an ocean. You have so much of it. You couldn't possibly measure it, because the ocean is vast and enormous. And just like that, you can't measure the love that you are receiving and the love that you are giving. So I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. And this is the ASL sign for I love you. So it can be directional. Like you love someone, or you've got love coming to you. It's literally coming to you. So that's what we're going to use for that. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. Okay? And then the last verse says, I've got faith like an anchor. So we're going to start it out by saying, I have, and the sign for faith, what you're going to do is it's a two-handed sign. So this is the sign for the letter F in sign language. So what you're going to do is have your non-dominant hand make a letter F just right here in front of your chest. Kind of keep the circle part flat. Don't put it up like this. Put it down like this. So then you're going to it's a very quick movement. You just touch and then you make it into another F on your dominant hand. So you just touch and you bring it down. So I have faith like an anchor. I have faith like an anchor. I have faith like an anchor in my soul. I'm going to show you again from kind of an angled view. I have faith like an anchor. I have faith like an anchor. I have faith like an anchor in my soul. Well, there you have it. That is the song, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you in person, and we'll do some practice together. Bye!
We're going to try this together slowly from the beginning. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain.
I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul.
I've got love like an ocean.
I've got love
like an anchor.
I've got faith like an anchor. I've got faith like an anchor. I've got faith like an anchor in my soul.
I've got faith like an anchor. I've got faith like an anchor. I've got faith like an anchor in my soul. Give yourselves a round of applause, and a special round of applause to Laura and Catherine, who learned all of that at 10 a.m. to demonstrate that for you.
And for those of you who are keeping track of your steps, that motion just then counts for 1,000 steps. So make sure you mark those down, okay? Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for those of you who are watching online, either live or at a later time. If you ever are on the corner of Glendale and 7th Avenue and want to try something a little bit different when it comes to Christianity, an alternative option of how to live out that life of Jesus, you'll find a group of individuals of wide variety of ages and that are excited about what that might look like. And so I invite you to join us on one particular Sunday here live or continue watching on person. But before you leave here, one of the things that is our tradition is that we leave you with a blessing. And so please receive this blessing. As you go forth from this place, may you be blessed with a sense of serenity. The serenity to realize that within yourself lies the potential to do great good, but also to do evil. May you also be blessed with a sense of courage. Courage to tap into that power so that today and tomorrow and the rest of this week and the weeks to come, that you will do what is true to your true nature and you will do good. That you will do the things that are needed to enhance the quality of life, not only for yourself, but those within the circles that surround you. And then finally, may you be blessed with a spirit of love. A spirit of love that, if we're honest, begins with yourself. That's why Jesus says we are to love others as we love ourselves. So may you find that spirit of love for yourself. And then out of that you'll leave this place. And for every single person you meet, people you know and the strangers as well, that you will make love real for them. Amen.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us today at Beatitudes. I'm just going to jump right in here and tell you about 4 events I'm really excited about. The first one happens today, right after service. We're all going to channel our inner Mary Poppins and go fly a kite. That's right. We are going to write our dreams on kites and send them soaring to the sky. This is an outdoor family event, and it's happening today, so just go out to the courtyard after service and send your dreams to the sky. And then come back at 6 o'clock tonight because we are returning to our jazz concert series. Tonight at 6 o'clock, it's Bossa Nova 77 to start the whole series. We're so excited. So I want you to go to the website. You can get more details there, as well as a link to Eventbrite. It's a $10 suggested donation. And then speaking of music, come back next Saturday because we have another worship concert series beginning. And this one is on Saturday, October 23rd at 4 o'clock. It's called Euphonium Dynamism. It features Dr. Bret Wagner and Stephen Schermitzler. This is $20 a ticket, and you can come to our website, beatitudeschurch.org. You go to the Music and Arts page, you scroll down, and you will find the Eventbrite link to save you a seat. And finally, I'm excited about this. Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and Faith in Action is already busy. We are starting a food drive right now, and this is for Nourish Phoenix, formerly ICM. So between now and November 14th, you can bring your food donations right here to the church, and we will get it to Nourish Phoenix. You want to go to the Faith in Action page on our website, and you will find a list of all the food items that you can donate. You can also send a monetary donation as well. So finally, if you're not on my subscription list, why not? I send out a weekly e-news with all this information and more. So please go to the website, and there on the homepage you're going to find a little orange button, and you click that, and then you can get subscribed right away to my emails. Thanks, everybody. Bye.